Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am the Pottymouth Guru and I'm your friendly East Coast therapist. I'm doing something a little bit different today. With the recent going-ons of Taylor Swift and Brittney Spears, these events have inspired me to take a closer look at mental health in the music industry. So the question is, does this industry support the mental health of its artists or does it hinder mental health? Let's unpack this a little bit together. And stay tuned because I have some really special guests on with me today. They might be recording artists.
Potty, she talking naughty. Here to help your trouble, she don't judge nobody. Even if you're not at your top and it's a lie, she try to make you see a different train of thought.
So before you read a story about a famous person's struggles and roll your eyes with animosity, thinking they're entitled assholes, remember that regardless of money and success, people's struggles are still their struggles. They're painful and they're hard. Remember that time that you really wanted something and you thought if you got that thing that all of your problems would be like totes gone? Like a promotion or a windfall of money, a relationship, an achievement? Did it fix all your problems? Maybe some, but it didn't just magically erase your trauma. And it didn't make your life perfect. So the goal is to access some empathy for people despite their circumstances. And because they're human, even if they have a lot of success and money. I myself have been a performer all of my life, so none of these struggles are particularly new for me, but I've never been a recording artist, so I personally don't have an insider's perspective on this industry. I did really extensive interviews with a few incredible musicians, singer-songwriters, recording artists. They've all expressed that most people don't know or understand what their experiences are and the difficulties they encounter. So let's take a quick look at what's been going on. On one hand, you have Brittney Spears, child star turned into one of the biggest pop icons in fucking history, who is just stepping out of an abusive conservatorship to reclaim like her entire existence. On the other hand, you have Taylor Swift, another megastar both in the pop and country worlds, who has taken control of her career and is changing the industry, who has also overcome many internal struggles, and probably still has a lot of internal struggles, like we all fucking do. These incredible women are taking their power back and away from the commodification and capitalization of performers who are people, away from those powerful people, particularly, not surprisingly, men, usually white. Because at the end of the day, it is still a boys' club. They're taking back control of their own lives and their careers, their creativity, to be the women, the humans that they want to be. Fucking amazing. What many people truly don't understand is that no matter what professional success one can reach, it alone does not heal or prevent mental illness and suffering. Yes, the resources to heal some of our mental health issues are more accessible to those with an abundance of money. But what kind of impact does this life, this business, have on people's mental health? What kind of toll does it take? How does it affect their self-esteem and their self-worth? Are the sacrifices they make worth it? Maybe for some, and for others, it's too great. There are many musicians who have perished, both known and unknown, to things like addiction and suicide. And many, if not all, have suffered abuses on their journeys. You have Brittney Spears, who lost almost all of her autonomy over the course of her entire life, even before the conservatorship, which I'm sure the initial intentions were to help her. But when the people around her realized how much money they could make off her circumstances, her well-being eventually stopped being the primary focus. She became even more of a product than she was before, and her mental and physical health took second fiddle. She was inappropriately medicated to pacify her. She wasn't allowed to make any kind of decisions about her personal life. She claims horrible abuse by the doctors around her. I mean, the girl was like arranging secret meetings in public bathrooms to get fucking messages out asking for help. Okay, so like, yeah, she lives in a mansion, but that's like a gilded cage when you can't make any decisions for yourself. She was dehumanized and imprisoned and enslaved for the people around her to protect their investment. I can't even imagine what her experience has been like. Then you have Taylor Swift, who also wasn't allowed to have her own voice. She had to maintain this image of purity and perfection. She had a need to be thought of as good. She wasn't allowed to speak her mind about politics. She's described her achievements being shadowed by loneliness. Winning her sexual assault case and not being able to feel a sense of victory because the process was so dehumanizing. Rich person still went through the shit that women go through. I mean, yeah, money might have afforded her a good lawyer, but it didn't change the fact that she was slut-shamed. She wasn't shielded from public scrutiny at all. In fact, it was worse because she's a celebrity. And she's also struggled with mental health issues in the form of an eating disorder. She got all of her validation and sense of self from the approval of others. Applause, as she's spoken about, was her highest currency. Brittney's taken back her power. Tay-Tay has also taken her power back. So remember those 3 strong females I was talking about at the beginning that I interviewed? Here's some of the things that they said. First up, we have the award-winning Rachel Cousins, a sweet and wise beyond her years pop singer and songwriter based here in Newfoundland and Labrador. She's had her songs featured on television shows like Sci-Fi's Winona Earp and has collaborated with some of the province's biggest artists like Alan Doyle and the Ennis Sisters. I asked Rachel what she believes the biggest mental health struggles are in this industry.
Hi there, my name is Rachel Cousins and I'm a 20-year-old singer-songwriter and pop recording artist. Growing up in the music industry, there's always been this huge stigma around taking breaks and saying no to things and taking way too many gigs when you feel yourself burning out. And I think that it's really important that we tear down those barriers that us as musicians and anybody else in the music industry, management teams, producers, whatever it may be, a lot of us struggle to say no to things or struggle to remain as productive as possible when we don't feel our best. And saying no to gigs is a really big thing for myself. I had a lot of guilt for a lot of years about saying, no, I can't do this gig, I'm way too busy, my schedule's overbooked. You don't even owe anybody an explanation, but it's something that the music industry is really hard on us for, is constantly being productive and ignoring burnout in artists. Myself as a 20-year-old artist, as a female artist, I really understand that struggle because I have been pushed to my breaking point where I don't feel good anymore, and then I really can't perform because my voice is shot or my mental health is drained. It happens more than you would think. You look at people like Taylor Swift or like Adele or Brittney Spears, and these are all amazing female artists who are extremely successful, but they've had to cancel many shows or say no to multiple things. And even Brittney Spears, she was just punished for that very thing, and she's been controlled for years because she had her choice taken away from her to stop saying, no, I can't do this, or no, I'm too busy. And it happens all the time, no matter what your place is in the music industry. And I think that that really needs to change. I do think we're capable of changing it, but the more that we talk about it, the better.
Rachel explained her multi-layered experiences in this industry. She says that the benefits have provided her with better social skills, the ability to express her creativity on stage. She explains that being on stage is the easiest part of her job. It's the place where she gets to be the most fully present, and that experience reinforces for her that the choice of pursuing this profession is worth it. She believes that the extreme pressures on artists is overlooked and ignored by industry people as well as fans. I quote her, "You get burnt out and no one cares." Next up, we have the epic Mallory Johnson. Originally hailing from Newfoundland, she is now based out of Nashville, Tennessee. She has been nominated for countless awards, winning many of them. She's graced the stage with the likes of Rascal Flatts and Blake Shelton. She's collaborated with some of the biggest names in country music, including her upcoming 2021 album, which is produced by the Grammy-nominated Kent Wells, who happens to be Dolly Parton's main man, producer, and musical director. I asked her the same question as I asked Rachel. What do you feel is the most important mental health issue in the music industry today?
The biggest challenge for me, actually, the comparison game. Comparison can be motivation, it can be fuel, but it can be detrimental as well. It can be dangerous. I think the hard thing about it, especially in the music industry, is that success, whatever you define success to be, and the path to that success is not linear in this business. I think if there was a cookie cutter way to be successful, then we'd all be doing it. So it looks very different for everybody, and that's why it's so easy to fall into that trap. Somebody might get a really cool gig. You might apply for that same gig or pitch for that same gig, and you don't get it. Similar resumes, and they might get it, and I won't. So it's very easy to kind of snowball into that comparison game and say, you know, why aren't I getting these opportunities? Social media really makes this even more difficult. You know, it makes us easy to kind of like look at ourselves and where we are and compare that to others. And it's really easy to question our worth and question why we aren't getting those same opportunities. Another similar thing, imposter syndrome. Do I belong here? Am I good enough? Am I thin enough? Am I pretty enough? Does my music suck? Do people like me? Do I deserve to be here? That's a scary place to be. I mean, us as artists, like, express ourselves through art. We're at our most vulnerable selves. And we are literally putting ourselves on a platform under a magnifying glass in a spotlight to be judged. Art is a biased thing. Everyone can express himself. Everyone should express himself. But at the end of the day, we are putting ourselves out there to be judged. It's not just for us. We want people to embrace it. We want people to connect with the music. We want to change the world with our music. You know, the last thing you want to hear is someone booing you or saying you suck. I keep thinking about the Kanye West moment at the VMAs. So this moment was when Taylor won her first VMA for Music Video of the Year, and Kanye West comes up on stage. He took the microphone and he said, Beyonce deserved to win this award. And as a teenager, hearing that, then the audience starts to boo. That is the worst sound that an artist can get. To her, she didn't realize at the time that they were booing Kanye and his behavior. She thought that they were booing her because they agreed with him. She's the kind of artist, even though it was very devastating at the time, turned that around and used that as fuel, and she became a Grammy award-winning artist with her next record. And she's at this like crazy level. She's signed to the big label. She got the whole team. She's still having these comparison issues, these challenges as an artist at that level, as like a smaller independent artist. Those challenges are a constant thing. As long as you can address it, know what it is, be able to figure it out and overcome it. That's the thing. You gotta win the game.
So good. And lastly, we have the artist known as Carolina East, a kind soul with a powerhouse voice. She's an award-winning Indigenous country artist based out of Newfoundland and Labrador, and has worked with acclaimed multi-platinum Toronto-based music producer Rob Wells, who has worked with Ariana Grande, Selena Gomez, and Justin Biebs. So in this next clip, Carolina East offers her vulnerable account of her experiences with anxiety in this business and gives some really great advice.
I'm somebody who suffers from crippling anxiety. As a musician, it really shows itself when I'm about to perform. All these thoughts go through my head, like, do I look pretty enough? Am I small enough? Do I sound good enough? Is my pitch good? Do people care about the song? Are people hating the song right now? All these negative things just, continue to circulate in my brain while I'm performing, when what I really should be doing is enjoying the fact that I'm on stage right now, doing things that I love to do and that I was made to do. I was put on this earth to perform. Anxiety often takes that joy from me. There are times when I have played at a venue that I've always wanted to play at, and because I was so anxious, I either pretty much blacked out on stage and don't remember anything that happened, or I'm just overthinking things the whole time. There's all these stupid things that are going through my head rather than just focusing on the performance and really taking in the audience and how things are going at that time. People clearly enjoy what I do, so I need to really welcome that into my performance and into the whole night. Otherwise, I'm going out of my mind and really not being the best version of myself. And I owe it to people who come to see me to be the best version of myself, to be authentic and to really let people get the full experience of Carolina East Show. It's not easy and it takes a lot of practice, but it is possible. Now, that being said, anxiety is nothing to be ashamed of and it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It was only last night that I performed. I had a really bad day yesterday and I thought I had my shit together, but then I walked in through the venue and there were so many people. I focused on a really good friend of mine, gravitated to her, and then we went to the bathroom, as women do, together. As soon as the door shut, I lost it. I just cried. I put myself back together and I had to go out and sit down and get ready to perform, and the performance was great. I had to tell the crowd when I got up there, and I always do it in a humorous way because that's my defense mechanism, is humor. I had to tell them, like, guys, you know what, kind of struggling here, really need your support on this performance. I hope I don't forget the words. And the performance itself went really well, and they oftentimes do, for me and for everybody, because we gather ourselves and we make sure that we're showing up for people. But the incredible amount of anxiety I felt was almost mind-numbing. I'm proud of myself that I pushed myself to do what I really didn't want to do. And we need to focus on the positives of our performances as well. Anxiety is not easy, but the important thing is that we keep moving forward, we get up and we push ourselves, and we be deadly. As people who suffer from anxiety to any of the various degrees, when you get up on that stage and you perform your heart out and you really push your barriers and you get outside of your comfort zone, you're a fucking rock star. It's not easy to do, and you need to be proud of yourself and reflect after your show. Give yourself a pat on the back, because boy, I tell you, sometimes there's times I just want to run right out the door, and I get up on that stage anyway and I lay my heart out there for everybody. We have to be proud of ourselves. We need to give ourselves that credit, and we need to be kind to ourselves. We can't always be perfect.
She also talked about struggling with social anxiety and that there's no forgiveness around issues surrounding interacting with fans. If it's not done, then the artist is deemed a bitch or unapproachable, and this affects the fan base and the following, and as a result might damage the career and success prospects. This is totally reminiscent of Naomi Osaka, withdrawing from the French Open in 2018, citing anxiety over media interviews that would follow. The response? A $15,000 fucking fine, because fuck mental health, right? For prioritizing her health. So it's like, dance, monkey, dance, and fuck your feelings. So back to my original question, does this industry support mental health for artists or does it hinder it? The short answer is fucking no! Ultimately, artists are dehumanized and treated like products. Comparison and rejection eats away at their self-esteem. Imposter syndrome is fucking rampant, with the struggles of being true to yourself next to selling out for success. Anxiety, depression, addiction, eating disorders, severe burnout are all but ignored. Business seems to win over artistry. There's little to no support worked into the industry for mental health or any health. The most common misperception is that once you do well, once you succeed, once you win awards and perform in epic places, that all your problems, poof, fucking disappear. And the reality is that they don't. And the path of success often presents new problems. Thank you so much for joining me here today for this discussion about mental health in the music industry. Now, I want to know, what are your thoughts? Are there other industries that are ruthless towards mental health? What have your experiences been with your mental health in your industry? Tell me in the comments below and let's have a conversation about it. Ultimately, we need to talk more about mental health. We have to break the stigmas around this topic if we want to get a handle of this epidemic that's fucking species-wide. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that little bell thingy so you won't miss any of my videos. Thank you so much for your continued support, and I shall see you next week. Same bat time, same bat motherfucker channel. Bye.